Good afternoon, everyone. I am Gina from Gina K Designs, and welcome to Stamp and Chat. I am so excited to see all of you coming into the room everywhere, all over the US and all over Europe and all over the world. It's great to see you guys. Today, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to use the brand new Forever Flowers kit, and we're going to do a coloring technique. I've done it before, but it always looks a little bit different depending on the stamps that you use. And this coloring technique uses a combination of ink blending and colored pencils with Gamsol. And then I'm going to show you a technique that I did a long time ago in an old Stamp TV video where you use, do I have it somewhere here? Yes, where you use an embossing folder and you do partial embossing. And I'm going to show you how fun and easy this is and how it really makes your card look super finished. So that's a fun technique. Welcome everybody coming in. It's great to see all of you guys. So the big mystery was, where did Tom's leaves go? If you joined us on Monday night for our live, Monday was our anniversary. And so Tom actually came on and we made cards for each other. We made anniversary cards for each other. And we did lots of coloring and die cutting. And when we got ready to assemble our cards, Tom was down to one leaf. The other leaves had just disappeared. So I had saved that one leaf. And today, when I was getting my tools together, because I knew I was going to be doing some die cutting, I grabbed my Spellbinders plates and the leaves fell out of the plates. How did I not see those plates? I can't believe I didn't see them, but that's the mystery, that we found all of the leaves. So I have them right here. And now we're going to have Tom make another card, or maybe we'll just jam these leaves into those cards and have them be a little more leafy. Save them?
Save them for the next chaotic loss of stuff.
Okay, we'll save them for the next time you're on the live with me, because you'll probably lose whatever leaves you're working on.
Bin of things that disappear.
Okay, this will go in the things that disappear bin. Good idea. All right, yay, mystery solved. Yeah, I'll have to post that too on Facebook and on YouTube in the community section, because not everybody gets to watch both night times and daytime lives. So we want to make sure everybody knows where those mystery leaves went. First, when I grabbed the plates and I put the plates on the desk and I happened to walk out of the room, I saw them on the floor. And I thought, I know they weren't on the floor because I swept the floor. And then I was like, do we have a ghost or something? But they actually just dropped down out of the plates when I moved them. All right, so let's get started. Today, the stamp set that we're going to use is the Lace Flowers stamp set. And this one is a super fun stamp set to use. It kind of is reminiscent of the boho flower stamp set that we did a couple of years ago, but it's even more ornate and it's more frilly, and I really, really love this one. So this is a great stamp set too. If you have, maybe you have some kids who like to color and things like that, or adults that like to color, you can make cards with these images and give them the card in black and white with a little pack of colored pencils, and they can color these images themselves. So it's also a little coloring project there. So we're going to make a birthday card today, and we're going to start with just a piece of plain Gina K Designs white cardstock. So we're going to do a little bit of embossing. We're going to start with the embossing magic pad, and we're going to rub that all over the surface of this piece of white cardstock. And I'm going to use this big acrylic block. Of course, you can use your Misty for this. You can use a bigger piece of cardstock and emboss them all at once if you want. I'm going to put that stamp on, and then I'm going to put this leaf stamp on. I'm just going to do two at a time here so that it saves a little bit of time and effort. And I'm using some Versamark ink. I know, I'm so glad I found them. I'm telling you, I couldn't for the life of me figure out what happened to those things. So it's very good to know where they were. All right, so I'm going to stamp these over here and get some good pressure on them. If you're having trouble logging onto the website, I don't know why that is, but it's probably a good idea to either email customer service, or you can call them and they can help you log on. It may be something, I don't know, sometimes I forget what passwords I use a lot, and sometimes you just need a password reset. So you can certainly call our customer service, and they're always more than happy to help. Okay, so I used a little bit of white Gina K Designs Fine Detail White Embossing Powder here, and I'm going to heat up my heat tool. I'll have to be a little bit careful when I ink blend not to contaminate the different images here, because I'm going to ink blend one in Peach Bellini, and then of course I'm going to use a green for the leaves. So, hey Simon Hurley, we need to get COVID over with so Simon can come here and do a video in my studio. Simon, maybe we should both just quarantine for 14 days and then you can come over and we'll be safe. What do you think? We want to do a live together. All right, so I think I'm going to stick with just one flower today, but I'm going to probably need another leaf. And even if I don't, I'm going to stamp one now just in case, because I don't want to need one and then not have it. So I will stamp one just up here. And then I will emboss that one. 14 days of Gina and Simon together. That would be fun. Simon has great ink and great stamps, and it's always really fun to mix and match our products together. And Kathy Zilski and I are going to do something together too. We've been talking a lot about it, so it's always fun to do those collabs. You get to see new ideas, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, so now I have the big flower here. I've got two leaves. I know this looks like nothing. You're watching and saying, boy, this is the most boring looking thing I've ever seen. You are correct, but once the ink blending gets on there, it'll look better. So now I'm going to stamp some of these leaves. I'll show you the leaves I'm going to use. I'm going to use a couple of these leaves here. Yeah, 14-day craft retreat, exactly. Oh, wouldn't that be a dream come true? We should, I know, it's like we all wish that we could just see our friends and we could do stuff together. Let's all quarantine, make sure we don't have COVID, and then just get together and just live with all of our friends until COVID is over. I think that's what we should do. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to do those. I'm telling you, this is going to get more interesting once you guys can see what I'm doing. I think I'm going to do one more leaf, the bigger one of the two. And I'll just put that right here in this empty space. This way I can emboss them all together. Okay. Well, welcome to everybody who's coming in. I still see lots of people coming in. I know a lot of people are at work during this time that usually watch. So it seems like it takes a little longer for everybody to get into the rooms over on Facebook and on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, I would love if you would subscribe to my channel. And if you like my videos, maybe give this one a thumbs up. That helps my channel get noticed out there. So that would be very helpful and I would appreciate it. Okay, so now I'm going to just turn this over. I've got all my images. So let's get some color on these so you guys can actually see them. And I'm going to go a little bit closer. Sometimes I actually try to zoom into the overhead camera and then I look straight ahead and I see that I've zoomed into my nostrils on the front camera by accident. Okay, so I'm going to start with some Peach Bellini. And I'm going to use my orange blending brush. I did clean this off a little bit and tried to brush off as much of the orange as I can. And I'm going to make my flower Peach Bellini. Now, if you want to protect your leaves, you can always just take 2 quick Post-it notes and put them over the leaves. And that will just make sure that that blending ink doesn't, if you get it onto here, it's not going to get onto your leaves. All right. So I'm going to start in the middle. I'm going to start a little heavy. See, now we can see something happening, right? Oh, happy birthday, Cheryl. Glad you're here. It's nice to see you. Cheryl's celebrating her birthday with us today. That's awesome. So are we still in Aquarius season? No, I don't think so. I think we switched over to Pisces season. I think. So, Shirley, you're a Pisces. I'm Aquarius. It's like the only season I know. Well, my kids always tell me when it's their season. And I know Tom's season. Tom's an Aries. So I know when it's Aries season. You can feel that in the air. Okay, so I'm going to take a paper towel now that I've blended that ink. And I'm going to just rub that over the surface just to get rid of any ink that is sitting on the top of that design. Now, I love my Aries people. My mom was an Aries. My father-in-law was an Aries. My husband's an Aries. Aries and Aquarius apparently are very good together. So that's a good thing. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to some Applemint. And I'm going to use my green blending brush for that. And again, I rubbed off some of the excess color to make sure that I'm not contaminating my ink pad. And I'm going to go lightly over these vines just to add a little bit of color. And it's okay if you go a lot outside the lines, because remember, we're going to die cut these. And it's kind of nice. You really won't see much of a white edge because it'll just be a very, very soft fade of Applemint. Yes, you could definitely use scraps to clean your blending brushes. I always like to use something that's a little rougher. Like you could even use a scrap piece of watercolor paper. It seems to really grab the bristles a little bit more. So if you're having trouble getting your brushes clean, try something like that, a little bit more rough cardstock. Okay, and you can see as this color gets grabbed around the edges, I don't know how easy that is to see, but it almost outlines it a little bit with a darker look. Okay, and then we're going to do these little leaves here up at the top. I need more ink. Oh, I just put my finger in it. You know how when you get ink on your finger, you're pretty sure it doesn't matter how much you clean it off, that one spot is going to get onto your card right at the end. Oh, I like these leaves. They're so cute. So I hope everybody is enjoying the weather. We are starting to, I looked at the forecast and it looks like in Wisconsin, we're going to be up in the 50s. And I just saw in Chicago area, which is only like an hour and 20 minutes from here, hour and a half, maybe at the most. It's going to be 61 one of the days next week. That's crazy for March, for up here. But I know a lot of you are having beautiful weather now. You're going into your spring season. March is spring for you. I remember that back in Philadelphia. The green that I'm using, Sherry, is Applemint. That's our lightest green. Okay, so I'm going to rub over the surface again and get rid of all of that excess. And you can see where I got green on my Post-it notes. So it's good that I protected that flower from getting green on it. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of coloring. So I picked a couple different color pencils here. For the green, I chose Kelly Green, and you might notice that I use this color a lot. And then for the red, I'm using Permanent Red. Now, I want this to all coordinate nicely with our Coral Reef cardstock. This is one of the cardstock colors that comes in the kit. But I didn't want to make the flower Coral Reef. I wanted to blend these two colors together to kind of make a Coral Reef color. And I wanted it to, you know, for you to have a lighter shade in there so you can see the blending. All right, so I'm going to start with the Permanent Red. And let's see, can I get any closer? I don't know. Let me try. So we'll see what happens here. It's a little closer. Okay. Am I still clear, Tom? I didn't like go out of focus, right? Okay. So I'm going to start down here, and it's really important to keep a nice sharp point. Now, Prismacolored Pencils, they make a pencil sharpener for Prismacolored Pencils, but honestly, my favorite pencil sharpener is this one. It's the iPoint Orbit. I have this one. This is the battery-operated one, and I also have the electric one that my friend Karen Hightower gave me as a gift, and I love them both. The battery-operated one is great when I'm moving around and I don't have an outlet close by. So I love these because it seems like this never breaks the point. So if you have trouble with your point breaking on your pencils, try sharpening them with a pencil sharpener like that. Okay, so I'm going in close around this little kind of, I don't know what they're called. They're antennas, but they have a name. Do you know what the name is for the like antennas of the flowers? Somebody will tell me because there's
Stamen? No.
yes, stamen. That's it, stamen. Yeah, thank you, because I sounded dumb saying antennas, but that's what they look like to me. So I like to go like close around there, but I'm not going to go too much around this one. All right, so we're just adding that color there. And then I'm going real close around this part of the embossed image. Okay, so I like doing the colored pencils with the embossing because they, unlike if you do this with Copic markers and you get the Copic marker onto the embossed image, it will color the embossed image. And we don't want to do that. So by using colored pencils in Gamsol, you get a similar look, but you don't have to worry because the colored pencils will not stain that embossed image. Now I did have some, where'd they go? I had my little blending stumps here. Oh my gosh, did they disappear with the leaves somewhere? Oh, let's see. Let me see if I can find one. All right, here's one. So this is the type of blending stump that I really like. These are by Creative Mark, and they're different. A lot of the blending stumps are made in China, and the ones that are made in China are very, very hard. They're super hard. But the ones that are made in Taiwan, that say made in Taiwan, now this one doesn't, they used to say it, but I'm not sure why they don't put it on there. Maybe it's on the package. They're softer. And they make it easier for the blending stump itself to absorb the Gamsol. Now, when you want to clean this, because you can see I have some pink on there left over from another project, I use either something like this, which is just sandpaper, and you can change out the sandpaper when it gets too, used, or you can use a nail file for this. The type of colored pencils are Prismacolored pencils. So I'll just put that there so you guys can see that. And what you're going to do is you're going to just file off that color by turning your blending stump as you rub it over the sandpaper or the nail file. And the reason why you want to do that is because you want to keep that point sharp. If you go straight on like that, you're going to just flatten it out. So you want to turn it. You're rolling it as you're filing it. When you use the blending stump for the first time, make sure you sand it beforehand because that will help it absorb the Gamsol better. Sometimes they're just too hard and compressed. Then I have a little jar here and I have some Gamsol. Gamsol is an odorless mineral spirits, but it's not the kind of odorless mineral spirits that you get in the hardware store. This is, I don't know why it's so much better. They process it in a different way, but you really shouldn't use the kind that's in the hardware store. It's really not as safe. I can't smell this at all. I've never had a problem with this, but even when I've seen odorless mineral spirits in real life from the hardware store, I can still kind of smell it. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip my blending stump into the Gamsol. Now, here's another place that a lot of people go wrong. They just do this and they think that that's enough. That is not enough because you just really wet the outside of your blending stump. You want to get Gamsol kind of sucked into this blending stump. So hold it in there for a second and allow some of that to get into the blending stump. Then you want to go right over the color. You want to start breaking down that color with the odorless mineral spirits, the Gamsol. And then you're going to bring that color up like that. See how that just blends so easily? See how pretty that looks? So the name of the kit that I'm using today is called Forever Flowers. It's our brand new kit available on our website in the What's New category. So I'm doing the same thing here. I'm just breaking down the wax by using the Gamsol, and then I'm just working my way up. So it's darker down near where the colored pencil was, and it gets lighter as I go up. So this is a super easy technique to do. And if you get enough Gamsol on there, you really don't need to re-wet it during at least one petal. You'll have to re-wet it for your next petal. Okay, so let's color the rest of these. No, Gamsol doesn't ruin the embossing at all. Nope. But people don't, I mean, people that are Copic marker specialists really don't like using Copic markers over embossing powder. And again, you know, if you get the Copic markers, because Copic markers are permanent markers, so they're like Sharpies in a way, not the same, but they have that same kind of permanent ink. You can color with a Copic marker on something that is not porous, and it will grab the color. So you don't want to do that with Copic markers. You want to do this with something like this. You can also use, if you're using like watercolor paper, you could use watercolor pencils, and then you don't need Gamsol because water is like the Gamsol for watercolored pencils. Why waste your Gamsol when you can just break down that pigment with water, right? Okay, so I'm working my way up. Ooh, that's pretty. And it's so glowy. Now I'll take pictures of these and you'll get to see some high quality pictures of the way the blending looks. I think that got a little blurry when I held it close, so I won't do that. But I'll take some nice high quality photos so you'll be able to see how this looks blended. But you should be able to see some of it. I'm going to go around that thing, that antenna. That's like, I think I called them antennas my whole life. And my parents, of course, never corrected me, probably because they didn't know what they were called either. You know, nature, like bees and bugs, they have antennas, right? All right, so I haven't dipped back in my Gamsol because I've got a decent amount here, but it's feeling like I'm going to need a little bit more. And you can always tell, there's two ways to tell that you need more Gamsol on your blending stump. One is nothing's blending. That's a good one. And two, it starts to make a squeaky sound on your paper. So that's a great way to know. Gamsol is like the most forgiving way to color too. I love it. I know a lot of artists that are very, very talented colorists are not big fans of Gamsol because, you know, it's like a cheater's method of blending and coloring, but I'm all about the cheater's methods because I just want to have fun. And like I said, I'm not an artist. I am a crafter. So I'm not... I could practice and I could probably get better. Well, I definitely could get better if I practiced. But, you know, I enjoy this. So it's hard for me to take the time to do it another way when I actually have fun using the Gamsol. So don't feel bad about using Gamsol. Don't feel like a cheater. It's so pretty and it works so nicely. And I think it makes us all look like artists. So if there's any questions or anything out there, just shout them out. And Tom's doing his best to kind of keep up with everything that's going on. I do want to welcome anybody that's joining us that just tuned in. I'm doing a little coloring blend here with ink, which the color ink that I used was Peach Bellini. And it's such a beautiful blend with this permanent red Prismacolored pencil. So we'll just do a little bit more of this, and then we're going to move over to the leaves. And then we're going to do some partial embossing. I don't know if you guys have ever tried that, where you just emboss some of your card with your embossing folder, but it's a really neat look, and it really finishes off your card nicely. So we're going to do that today too. I did redip.
Where to get the blending stumps?
Well, these blending stumps are available at most of the art supply stores. So you could try, I don't know, they sell blending stumps at a lot of the craft stores. I don't know if they have the Creative Mark ones. I think Jerry's Artorama has them. And probably Blick has them, but I'm not 100% sure. But if you Google Creative Mark blending stumps, you will find them. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of color right here in the center, and I'm not going to worry too much about blending, like making it shaded, but I am just doing a dot very close to the center. And then I'm just using my blending stump to kind of blend it out and add that color. I could just scribble the color in there, but this makes it look more hazy and it kind of matches the aesthetic of the other petals. I'm not going to do anything to those outer petals. I think I'm going to leave them just like that. I like the way that looks. Okay, so now the pencil that I'm going to use for the green is the Kelly green. And again, I use this pencil a lot when I use green. I just like this color, and I'm just adding a tiny bit right at the bottom of each of these little petals. They're not petals, they're leaves, but it's kind of a petally vine. Petally, it's a new word. You learn a lot of new vocabulary words when you watch Gina K and Stampin' Chat, that's for sure. So I just added that in there, and then I'm going to blend those out using some of the Gamsol as well. We have a little die cutting to do today. So if you're just tuning in and you wanted to know where Tom's leaves turned up, they turned up stuck between the plates of the embossing machine, the Spellbinders machine. I don't know why we didn't see him. I don't know why you guys didn't see him, but we didn't. Okay, so now I'm using the flip side of this blending stump because this one's pretty wet up here, and I don't want to file it while it's wet. So I would suggest if you're going to get some blending stumps, you know, get a few. Don't just get one. They usually come in a pack. All right. So I'm just going to pull that color up on each one of these to get away from, you know, it just looking like a dark green dot. I like that. This is such a tiny area that it's kind of almost, you would think that it wouldn't even look like anything with the Gamsol, but it does. And it's a nice contrast to the light color that's kind of dispersed around the outside. All right. So it's great to see. I love just looking up every once in a while and I see you guys talking to each other. It's really cool. We're such a community here and I just love having you all here so much. All right, so we're almost done with this, and then we're going to add a little bit of color the same way to these other leaves. There's a lot of lines going on in these other leaves. So we're going to, we'll just go close to the inside here of each of these lines. And I'm just laying down this color kind of heavy. That's the other thing. It's different than when you color with regular colored pencil blending. When you do regular colored pencil blending, you want to shade lightly. People tend to use the side of the pencil and shade really lightly. With this, you're actually, you know, digging in a little bit because you want to lay down that waxy pencil. So it is a different technique. Get a little Gamsol on there. I'm just going to run the Gamsol up here like that to soften that. And then I'm going to just jiggle that blending stump down just to add some shading. And again, you'll see what this looks like a lot better when you see the photographs that I post both on Facebook and here in the community section on YouTube. And if you're looking for the community section, I know some of you aren't exactly sure where to find that. I believe that when I post something in the community tab that it ends up somehow in your feed if you're subscribed to me. So that's another kind of fun reason to subscribe. You get to watch my YouTube stories and you also see some of the stuff on my community tab. But if you go to my channel, that's where you will see a tab at the top of my channel that says community. And if you click on that tab, you'll see all of the posts and they're all photographs. So it's a little bit different than what you normally find on YouTube.
Coming up on a year of lives.
I know, coming up on a year of lives. That's right. I started my lives last March, right after we all kind of got shut down. And we're coming up on a year. And I was doing 3 per week for a while, which was fun. And I really loved doing it. But 2 works a little bit better with my ability to do the rest of my job.
Can you show the bottle of Gamsol?
Sure, I'd be happy to show the Gamsol. So this is what the Gamsol looks like. It's made by Gamblin. Now there are other brands of artist grade odorless mineral spirits. So if you go to the art store and you say, do they have Gamsol? They might not have Gamsol, but you can ask if they have something that is like an odorless mineral spirits. Let me show you something else that I bought that works as well. Let me see if I can find it real quick. This is called lavender spike oil. And this works the same way as Gamsol. And this is more natural. It's a safer, more natural solvent, they say. And I got this also at Blick, I believe. So, you know, there's 2 options for you, and they both work really well. I know some people use baby oil, and I do believe that baby oil works. So if you want to practice with baby oil, that's great. But I find that baby oil leaves an oily residue on my card, and then my card smells like babies. Not that babies smell bad, but it might not be something you want for your card. So just keep that in mind if you're using baby oil instead. All right, so now it's time to cut these out. So I'm definitely going to zoom out, or all you're going to see are knuckles flying around, and nobody wants to look at that. Okay, so we're going to get my Spellbinders machine here, and we'll do quite a bit of die cutting. And we're also going to do that little embossing trick. So let's start with the die cutting of these flowers and leaves first. So for that, I'm going to use my regular base plate, and then I'm going to use one of the clear plates. And once this dries, if it doesn't look blended enough to you, you can always go back and do a little bit more blending. I'm going to use one of the coordinating dies here, and these are not super terrible to line up, but today they will be. There we go. Okay. Just because, you know, I said that. That's why they would be terrible today. All right, so I know I'm just hanging off the edge of the screen there, but I'm going to keep it there, and I'm going to shove this through and cut that flower out. Okay. Yeah, I think the baby oil does leave a little bit of a film, but if you're a person that's very allergic to any kind of chemical or whatever, baby oil is an option for you. Okay, so the thing that I like about doing this blending technique too with the peach Bellini on the outside is even if your white edge isn't perfect, you don't notice it quite as much because my white edge is not as perfect. I do have a video that shows you how to get that white edge, but you know, if you're just doing it this way, having that all, you know, blended along the edge, you don't see it as much. All right. Oh, and I do want to say while I'm cutting out these other ones, Tom and I are just so grateful for all of the anniversary wishes that you guys have sent out to us on social media. Also, all of the beautiful cards that you guys have sent to us. I want you to know the cards come to our business. That's where the address that we gave out. And we just got piles and piles of cards from you guys. And so every night when we would get home from work, we would sit at dinner at our counter and we would open all of your cards. And we were doing that last night again. So thank you all so much because it means so much to us. It really does. Look at this. I got black specks all over this one from my die cutting plates. I'll see if I can pick those off later. We'll see. And also, all of you that come to our lives, we appreciate you so much. And we know that you say happy anniversary and happy birthday and all those wonderful things to us. And we read all of your comments. Tom is over there monitoring everything. So we really, really appreciate it. So thank you. You mean doing all the die pieces at the same time would save time? Yes, it would. I don't know why I'm not doing that, but so I'm going to see if I can just lightly brush over this with a mono sand eraser to get rid of those. That doesn't seem to be working, and I also don't want to ruin this. So, But you know what would take care of that? Probably if you put a little piece of parchment paper over the whole thing and then put the plate on top. I'm not going to worry about it because you guys know, you've experienced that before. You know what that's all about. All right. So let's see if I can do 2 at a time here. My ID bracelet, Diane, this is a medical ID bracelet. And here's what the other side looks like. And I got this at a company called Lauren's Hope. I really like that company. I do have a page over on our website called My Favorite Things, I believe it's called. It's under the About tab, and I do link to it. So if you're looking for it, you'll be able to find the website there easily. But just, you can also Google Lauren's Hope. All right, so there's 2. I did 2. Good suggestion to whoever suggested that I do more than one at a time. All right, I don't know. Yeah, here we go. That's better. Boy, that was actually easy to mess up. You have to make sure that die is facing the right direction. Okay. Yeah, you definitely can cut all your dies at the same time. If you're worried about it, just, use a little purple tape to tape things down, or a little washi tape. I know, Deb, Tom would have cut one more dies at one time, but he would have lost all the leaves, so all of his work would have been in vain. You should see the look on his face right now. Okay, so since this is going to be a birthday card, I'm going to use the birthday die. That's this one here. It does have a shadow die, so you could do the birthday and shadow together if you want. But I'm just going to use the birthday die because I'm doing a lot of white cardstock here. So let's go ahead and again, I put my die blade side up when I'm cutting something this intricate, and then I lay my cardstock on the side, on top. And I always do it on one side or the other of the die cutting machine. I feel like it cuts better that way. Now, if you have like one of those electric die cutting machines, like the Gemini, then you don't have to worry about it. That's got so much pressure. But these manual ones don't have quite as much pressure, so that's a way to help. Oh yes, I love having a pretty medical alert bracelet. I had a real ugly one for a long time, and then I stumbled upon this website, and wow, I just love it. So that's what that birthday die looks like cut out. Lottie, I think it's Lottie. Tom, we found his leaves from Monday night stuck between the plates of this machine. Yeah, took us a while to find them. Took me till right before I went live today to find them. So I'm glad that mystery is solved. Okay, so I'm also going to cut out, I think I'm going to cut out a piece of white cardstock here, and I'm going to use the Master Layouts 2 die set. So I'm going to use the one with the stitched edges from that set, and we're going to emboss this. So I don't know if this is going to ruin the embossing or the stitching when I run it through. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Remember, I do most of my card designing and thinking live. I get an idea to show a technique ahead of time, but then I don't even know what I'm making until you guys are here with me. And that's pretty scary, isn't it? I think about that sometimes, and it gives me anxiety. But when I do it live, I don't get anxiety. So we're going with it. Now I'm going to use this die from Master Layouts 2, and this one is just the plain version. This will give me that little shadow layer. Okay. Ugh. Gina, you need a die cutting machine. I think you would really love it. It's super fun to have, and I use them all the time. And you can use them for more than just die cutting, which I'm going to show you in a second. Okay. So that you can see how that layers nicely together. And that's going to be a real pretty, nice poppy combination on top of that coral reef cardstock. So the birthday die that you see, that came from our new kit, the Forever Flowers kit. It has a birthday and shadow die, and it also has a forever and shadow die. So lots of good uses for that kit and those dies. Okay, let's see here now. I have this embossing folder. So what I want to do here is I want to emboss, but I want to explain to you what I want this card to look like. So I'd like to have my flowers up at the top you know, maybe I'll do like a little vine coming down, and I'll have, I'm just going to do a quick layout here to show you. This is what's in my head, so I think it's going to work. I don't know. A lot of things in my head don't work, but so I would do something like that, maybe add this little leaf off to the side here, okay? So that's my thought, to have that flower at the top. Then I wanted to have the birthday right here, and then I wanted to stamp greetings like right down underneath it. So birthday, we can even do this down a little further. And then we can have greetings right here underneath it. But what I want to do is I want to have all the texture of the embossing folder up here. And then I want to have a skinny line where I can stamp my word, my greeting word, because I can't really stamp it on the texture. And I could stamp it first, but I don't want the texture. And then I want to have a little bit of the texture down at the bottom. And I want it all to look like it flows, but I want just that little strip in the center with no texture. So that's what I'm going to show you. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start. Now this embossing folder, it's nice because it has a crack up in the center there. So you can slip the embossing folder in wherever you want it. But let's pretend you don't have one like this, because not all embossing folders are like that. So what you're going to do is you're going to have it hang out of the edge. So let me move it up here. Let me move my ink pads out of the way. I'm getting pretty close to my microphone, so I hope I don't hit it coming through. But so what you're going to do is you're going to have your piece of cardstock sticking out at the bottom. Now I like to try to make it as even as I can from side to side and make sure the dots are straight. It's a little tricky when you're using a patterned embossing folder. It's a little trickier than if you're using more of an abstract one. You don't have to worry if it's straight. With this one you do, because it's dots. So I'm going to pull that down just a little bit, like to about here. I think what I'll do. Okay. And that looks pretty straight, I think. I'm going to look at it this way. Yeah, that looks straight. Okay. So now I'm going to put my plate on top. You don't use these plates. You put it right on the white plate, and then you use the blue plate for the Spellbinders machine. And I'm going to run that through my machine. Why isn't it going through? What's wrong with me? All right, let's see. There we go. All right. There goes the Gamsol. Sorry, I know that was close, very loud, close to the microphone. Okay, so now we've done that part, right? Let's see what that looks like. Can you see? Can they see that pretty well, Tom?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, so you can see that there's nothing down here, right? Now I'm going to flip it around the other way. And I am going to line it up the same way, like that. Okay, like that. Now, if you're nervous about that, you can put that into your thing, into your embossing machine, your thing. Boy, I am such a wordsmith. You can put it into your embossing machine. And you can tape it down if you want with a little purple tape or a little washi tape. And I'll show you what that would look like. I'll just grab some of my purple tape here. You can just take a little purple tape and just, you know, kind of hold it down like that, just so that it doesn't move around. If that makes you feel more comfortable, you're kind of sandwiching it in there. And then you can go ahead and put this plate on top and run it through. I gotta make sure that I get this plate through the machine. Okay. Sorry. No, gotta have this back a little bit more. All right, let's make sure I didn't move anything. Even just having the tape folded over the edges keeps that in place. I just need to get this in there first because it's tight. Okay, there we go. And once I feel it go through, I'm gonna gonna try not to knock everything over again. Now, we should be able to open this back up. And now we have the bottom. Can you see that? Let's try to, I know it's very white, but you should be able to see that a little bit. Okay. All right. I think our overhead screen might be a little bright today. So we apologize for that if it is, and you can't really see that well, but you will be able to see it in the photos. And also it's really to learn the technique. So we'll try to do better next time. All right. Now I want to really make this look pretty. So I want to put an edge along that. So I'm going to turn this over right onto my Score Buddy. Let me zoom in just a bit so you can see this better. And I know you can't see the dots, but I can see them. So I've got my dots just in front of a line here on my Score Buddy. And I'm going to score that like that. And then I'm going to pick a different line to go right next to this line here of dots. And I'm going to score that. Okay. So now I finished that off really nicely there. I think you could see it there. How does that look? Yeah, I think you can see that. So it just finishes off the top half and finishes off the bottom half. And now it's almost like you've done some fancy layering. Although you haven't, it's a perfect spot to stamp in a little skinny greeting, a little strip sentiment. Okay, so we're going to do that next. But first, let's get this layered onto some black. I'll get my tape here. Oh, good. You can see it when it's laying on the desk. Good, good, good. Okay. Good to know. Yeah, I'm probably making it worse trying to show you and then all the glare and stuff. So, okay. Here we go. I think we got it. Okay. So now that's a fun trick, right? And you could put that anywhere. So if you want it right in the middle of your card, just do the board, the embossing at the top, embossing at the bottom. You can adjust the size between them for whatever size sentiment you have. And it's a really cool, fun way to add a greeting and make it look just a little fancier. Now, I don't trust myself at all at this point, so I am definitely going to use my Misty to put this greeting down. And I'm going to try not to lose my leaves. Tom, I almost lost my leaves. So I'll put this in the Misty up here. And then I will put that down. So, wishes or greetings. I think I'm going to use greetings, birthday greetings. Now, if I wanted this on the top, I could have put it up high and then used one of the longer sentiments. So let's get that in place. Ooh, it's sticky because it's a new stamp. It's sticking to my fingers. And I want to make sure it looks straight. I know nobody likes stained stamps, but I like them because I feel like I can see that something is straight better when it's stained. That's just me. I got to lean over the whole thing. Okay. There we go. So let's hope for the best here. I'm going to ink this up using a black Gina K Designs Black Onyx ink cube. And we will stamp this right in there. There we go. Okay, so we've got that all laid out nicely inside that little strip. Could I have placed a small strip of spare cardstock where you don't want the embossing on the actual cardstock? Well, I did try that, and it works a little bit, but you can still see a little bit through it because it actually makes the machine tighter and it makes it a little harder for the cardstock to go through, and it puts more pressure in that area, so you can see it a little bit. But you definitely could try it and see how it works. Plus, I'm using Gina K Designs cardstock, which is a thicker cardstock to begin with. So if you have a lighter cardstock, a lighter weight, you might have more luck doing that technique. So if you try it, please let us know over in our Facebook page because we love to hear all of your tips and tricks. So I'm going to back up just a hair. Okay, so this is going to go right onto my Coral Reef card base. I really got to get good pictures of this so you guys can see this better. And then the birthday will go right over that, like that. And we'll glue that down with some glue. And then we'll put the flower right on there. And then see how the birthday is kind of higher on this end and lower on this end? I think the vine would look better coming down on this end. Then it'll kind of finish it off a bit. I'm going to turn the flower a little to work with the vine better. And then I'll use, I didn't lose my leaves, Tom. Ha ha. Okay, I'm going to put that there and the smaller leaf here. And then the bigger leaf kind of coming out of here with the vine. I'm just teasing, Tom. It's kind of fun. So that's going to be my card layout. Isn't that fun? It's just bright and cheerful, kind of springy. So I'm going to leave everything like that. And I'm first going to glue, well, tape one leaf down at a time so that I remember where it is. You can use my iPhone or smartphone trick where you take a picture of the layout first so you don't forget what you did. But I'm going to pop the flower up so it's okay to do the leaves underneath first, like that. Look at this. And I'm leaving the birthday right where it is so that I, don't put my vine in the wrong spot. There we go. Oh, I can't pick these up. I cut all my nails off. I used to have longer nails. I cut all my nails off in frustration. I was in a mood. Do you ever get in a mood and you break one nail and then you swear and then you cut all the rest of them off? That was me. And now they're not growing back quickly, so it's my own fault. Probably should have gone to Rena and gotten one fake nail put on. I've learned my lesson, but now I can't pick anything up. I didn't realize how I used my nails to be able to pick things up and also to take these little protectors off of the back of these foam squares. Alrighty. So we'll put this right there. Looks good. Think. I don't even know where I had it. See how quickly you can lose what you had? All right, we'll put it right there like that. And then I'm going to do my little connect glue trick because this is such a delicate greeting. I'm going to take some connect glue and I'm just going to spread it out right here onto my cardstock. And then I'm going to get the greeting and I'm going to just tap it on the back of this birthday greeting. Don't worry if it gets on the front. It goes on white, but it dries clear. So that's all you need is for it to dry clear. I'm gluing it down to this. And then we'll get that on here. Get it laid out nicely where we want it. I'll move it over just a bit. There we go. And then just press it all down. And you do have to press a little bit harder because you're putting it over something textured. So, but there we go. There is the finished card. So for everybody celebrating a birthday today, here's your birthday card I made for you. Ta-da! There we go. Okay. Well, I am back. So I didn't do a lot of preparation as far as doing a quote and things like that today, but I do have a quote that I do want to share with you. I mean, it really, it's relevant to every single day that we're on this earth. That, however you come into your day and whatever you think of and however your attitude is really, really important. And I think here's the quote. I think it's time that we stop stressing about whether the glass is half full or half empty and remind ourselves of the fact that the freaking glass is refillable. That was the quote. I think when I write it, I'm going to take the word freaking out. I don't know why they felt like they needed to put that in the quote, but it's time we stop stressing about whether the glass is half full or half empty and remind ourselves of the fact that the glass is refillable. That's the quote, right? So I love it. All right, you guys. Well, we will be back on Monday. We do have a new challenge coming up over at Gina K Designs. We normally do our challenge the first of every month, but we're a little behind this month for a variety of reasons, which I'll be sharing with you more toward the end of the week. I should have that challenge up later today. So stop over on our website and right on the front page, you just scroll down a little bit and you'll see our latest challenge. We would love you to play along. And we will be back on Monday night with another live for you featuring this brand new kit, some fun projects, maybe a new technique, maybe Tom. We'll see if we can get him. We'll see. In the meantime, have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the beautiful weather. Stay safe. Stay healthy. I love you all so very much. And mwah, I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.